right, welcome in everybody. We're back with episode 4 of the Bridge Street podcast. Last week we recorded episode 3. Make sure you go and check it out.
hmm
That episode is full of great topics. 2025 XXL class reactions, little tech of sales analysis, and we did our fantasy draft segment on the top 10 features of 2016. As always, if you're watching the YouTube video, if you could subscribe, to interact, help out in any way, we are very grateful for that. And how we doing, Trashley?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm really excited for this week. I think we got a lot of good stuff on the docket to talk about, and I'm just really looking forward to getting into it.
Dude, I know we got good stuff. Last week, the draft segment was kind of the highlight, but we have a ton of new music this week
Sure.
that we should be able to talk about.
hmm
And as always, I think we're gonna start with the singles here. Get right into it because we have a ton to talk about.
Yeah.
First, we have the new Aries single
hmm
for his new album, In the Flesh. And to give some background, I'm a huge supporter of Aries. I've been following him since, say, 2017
hmm
when he started doing production videos on YouTube. And
hmm
he has released 2 albums since he's kind of transitioned to an artist, Welcome Home, and also the last album he dropped in 2021, which was also a great album.
hmm
And now he's on the rollout for this album, and he dropped the song In the Flesh.
hmm
And I think it's a great song, and I think this is possibly an album this year that I could give a 10 out of 10 to.
Whoa, interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not super. I came in as like not super familiar with like Aries' whole discography and everything, but like again, like I mean, you said it. Like I really, really like this track a lot, and like I even went back and I was like, is this a pattern? You know, because again, I had no idea like the catalog went that deep, and I don't know if it'll be a 10 out of 10 album, but this track really like I thought it was a total home run for sure.
And I think the thing, too, is I'm very biased in this.
Sure.
I have been listening to Aries since he dropped his first song on SoundCloud and, like,
Yeah.
way back in the day.
hmm
With Welcome Home and Believe in Me Because I Believe in You, 2 great albums. And it's also, too, is like he does his own production.
Yeah.
It's a small knit group. He doesn't make the music for other people, and he can sell out real shows. I
Yeah.
loved the single. The production's great.
Yeah.
He's rapping again. He hasn't rapped since like his first album,
hmm
and I couldn't be more excited. The reason why I say it's a 10 out of 10 album and it might be the only one we have this year is because we don't have a Kendrick, we don't
hmm
have a Tyler dropping,
hmm
and this is an artist that is able to cross over genres, and his albums have only gotten better.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this one. I assume it'll drop in the next couple months here,
hmm
and we'll definitely be talking about it then.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really, really excited. I definitely got to get more into the discography. I really got to feel like leading up to the album rollout for sure. Like really,
It's definitely worth looking at.
yeah.
There's so much good stuff, especially Welcome Home. With you have the early songs of like Sayonara, Race Car, Bad News, and then his last album too is like the transitions on it are crazy.
Yeah.
Great pop influence, rap
hmm
influence, just kind of an across the board great single, and we're looking forward to what he's about to do.
Yeah.
Getting into the albums now. We
Sure.
talked about it a little bit last week when we previewed the single of Geezer from Kevin Abstract and Dominic Fike. Going into it now, though, I kind of want to see. You took the lead on this last time, and I'll let you take it again. How do we feel about the Kevin Abstract album Blush?
Yeah. So this is a topic I was like super excited to talk about. Obviously, I was very excited to talk about the single last week. Last week I sort of mentioned how I was kind of expecting more of like I guess like a Brockhampton reunion and to get that sort of like energy back. And I got it, but not in the way I was kind of expecting. This album was, I mean, while it is a solo album, it's more of like, it feels like a group album with a lot of artists like local to the Houston area, which I thought was super cool. And honestly, there are a lot of like, you know, I like the song Nola a lot. That was definitely one of the highlights of the album for me for sure. But like overall, I really like thoroughly enjoyed this project. I thought it was probably his best since American Boyfriend in like 2017, since like high school for me. So No, I thought it was a really solid project from him. It was a really, really good product.
And as someone who's pretty familiar with this, where would you rank this like amongst the Brockhampton discography? And I know it's pretty high up there on his solo stuff, but do you think this compares in quality to some of those Brockhampton projects?
I am also biased as hell. I'm like, I'm gonna defend the Saturation trilogy probably till I'm 80 years old. But like, I think in quality, like comparing it to like an American Boyfriend, which I would say is pretty close to like those albums, I don't think is like super crazy to say. I don't think it's as good. I don't think it's like at that level, but I still think it's like I think it's a definite improvement from what he's been putting out like recently. And I just think it's like just a super unique like take. I mean, I probably like I heard like whispers and rumors about it, but like for him to go full into like the Houston like rap scene for a lot of these features, it's just like it was a really interesting and unique take on the album and like something I really appreciated.
Coming from an outside perspective and being pretty objective on it, I felt like it was a modern West Coast album.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of influences. You see Tyler, Frank Ocean, Odd Future stuff. And that's kind of a lot of what Brockhampton was always
Hmm.
compared to.
Yeah.
And I like the ideas that he dabbles into, and he's really going all over the place from some hyperpop influence to straight hip hop to some, like, harder production on there.
Hmm.
But I really felt like he didn't explore any idea enough for it really to deliver a message or to like have hard hitting moments. I just felt like I was going track to track and there were no really points of it like peaking
Hmm.
or having like each individual song having a moment where you're waiting to sing that, or
Hmm.
waiting for that part to hit.
Sure.
And I just kind of felt like there'd be like a lot of build up, and then
Hmm.
it would just be on to the next idea without those concepts really peaking.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out. I think that's the nature of the beast with this album, though, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And I think that's what makes it so interesting. It's just like he's got all these different voices. Like, you just look at the features list. I mean, it really is all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the album interesting to listen to is that like the next track you don't know what it's gonna be. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. But for me, I just again like I thought it was a really unique thing that I didn't really expect from the album, but I'm not necessarily gonna knock it as a flaw, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think also with you being more like brought into that sound and
Yeah.
already adjusted to that
Yeah.
sound, it's definitely something that would make more sense. I
Hmm.
think I need to go back do a little bit more research
Yeah.
on his solo stuff and some of the older stuff, but
Yeah.
that's kind of I felt a little underwhelmed, but once you hit like the last like 4 or 5 songs were were really good.
Yeah.
Like the end of that album, I really, really thought that he did finally complete some of the ideas that he was getting at earlier in the album. It
Hmm.
seemed a little rushed at the beginning, but as you hit tracks 17, Abandon Me, 18, Red Light, and obviously I like the feature with Derby on I Wasn't There.
Yeah.
Like in
That
even the
was hard.
single Geezer and the placement in that, I like the back 5, 6 songs of this album were
Hmm.
really good, but I felt that in the beginning there was a lot introduced and you didn't get a payoff on
Yeah.
everything.
That's a fair criticism for sure. I can totally understand that perspective. I just think, again, at least for me, it was like the closest I felt to like experiencing like Brockhampton again. I don't think it was like I'm not gonna say it like pales in like comparison like quality wise because this is very much like not a set group. This is just like Kevin Abstract bringing in a bunch of people from Houston to make music. So
Hmm.
you get that quality dip there, but I still feel like at least coming from me, I still get that feeling of like there's a lot of people doing something cool.
And a big point we talked about in last week's episode, we were looking at, and this is something you had brought up, is the Amir Van inclusion on this album.
Sure.
Do you have feelings on whether that disappointed or it hit the mark or it was exceptional? Where do you kind of, how do you feel about that inclusion? I mean, all of the controversy aside.
Sure, yeah. I think I'm not gonna sit here and be like it was exceptional. Like, you asked me 3 years
Hmm.
ago, I'd probably say that. But like, I think he did his job. He got a couple verses. He had a part on Pop Out, and Bloom was probably one of my favorite songs on the album for sure. I thought that was a really high for me. But like, again, I think he just came in and did his job, and like it was kind of nice to like hear him back like rapping with Kevin Abstract again. It was kind of nice, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like, blew me away, but I'm satisfied. I feel whole again right here.
Definitely. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of what I saw, I was rating this album around, in a 5.5 to a 6.5,
Hmm.
probably landing in the middle at a 6.
Hmm.
How are you feeling in terms of rating this album?
I was feeling somewhere closer to like a 7 to 7.5, honestly. Like again, I think that's just like a difference of like I think I've a little more assimilated into the
Mhm.
sound and like I've kind of like know what to expect and like or again I just got dropped in my head or something. But no, I really like I thought it was solid. It wasn't. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was like a 9 out of 10, 9.5, and say like he's back, but 7.5. Like I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's that's rounding up there. I think there are a couple songs I'll add to the playlist. Not something I'm crazy about going right back to, but I think it was listenable, and I think it's worth listening to, especially if you have a diverse enough ear or are already assimilated to what
Sure.
that music is.
Yeah.
And I think people could find a lot of enjoyment. I'm not gonna bash it. I'm not gonna say it's bad because it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It just it's very similar to the quality of the Tekka album. I would say the Tekka album's a little bit better, but
Hmm.
even though they're two totally different things,
Yeah.
it's just you can find value in it, really, whatever you listen to, but you're not gonna be playing this for years on it.
And I'm pretty sure I gave the Tech album the exact same score, like for pretty much the exact
Right,
same reason. It's like
right,
I agree completely. Can we talk about Quadeca for a second?
dude.
Can we talk
I
about?
saw
I
that.
want to really talk about this for like a second.
No, no,
Be,
run with it, run with it.
because like I saw his name on like the back half of the like track list, and I'm not super tapped in. I haven't heard Quadeca's name maybe since like 2000, God knows when, pre-COVID
Yeah,
maybe. And like the last thing I heard about him was that he was corny, and I kind of just accepted that as a fact of life. But like I heard like his features, I heard Red Light obviously, and Abandon Me, and easily these were the two best songs on the album in my opinion.
it's hard for him to abandon that corny label.
Sure.
Like, okay, I might be making this up, but did he do something with like rice gum back in the day?
I did my research. He made a diss track on KSI in 2018, I think.
Okay.
And like that was his like first like claim to fame. I think he was like a FIFA YouTuber or something, or like a YouTube rapper. I don't really know, but he made like a diss track on KSI that like kind of blew up and was like considered like decent.
I think I remember that, and then I also remember he had videos where he was like rapping in different styles, and
Yeah.
I
Oh my
think
God.
that,
Yeah. I remember
I
those.
remember seeing that. I was never like a huge fan,
Yeah.
but I did see a real addition to the album in what he
Hmm.
was doing.
Yeah.
And I didn't. It's hard for him to abandon that title because if you're
Yeah.
a YouTube rapper, you'll forever be a YouTube rapper. You can never really take that away. And
Yeah.
it's honestly really crazy to compare him and Aries, who we
Yeah.
talked about at the
Yeah.
beginning of the podcast, who was recreating beats and doing production.
Hmm.
And now when people find Aries music, they it's a cliff note. It's not something that people are like going back to and always
Yeah.
bringing it up and labeling him as.
Yeah.
But Quadeca, it's going to be tough for him to abandon that. I wanted to do more research because I saw like a tweet
Hmm.
about what he did. I know he did some production.
He did.
Um,
Yeah. He did a lot of production on the album. I don't know how much. I know for sure it was the last two songs, but like, uh, Yeah, again, like I think his production was like really good on the songs that I know for sure that he did. Um, but like another thing I wanted to talk about too was when I like listened to the album and I saw Quadeca's name, I was like, I kind of had a blind curiosity of like, what has this guy been up to in the last 5 years since I've cared, you know? And I
Hmm.
heard his most recent album, Scrapyard, excuse me, from 2024, and it was good. It was pretty good. I like there's definitely like I mean he's definitely evolving as an artist for sure. Like, I mean maybe take that as a homework assignment or what have you, but like it was a very, very, very solid production. And I think he's rolling out another album this year, maybe. I could be wrong, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's something to keep an eye out on, and I need to go back and listen to it. I don't know if I will. I'll sit here and say now, like I might just be
That's fine.
fronting and
That's
be
fine
like,
too. I just wanted that was
because
just the talk. That was just something I wrote in my
it's a
notes.
great talking point. And
Yeah.
also, I guess he dropped this album on Quadeca's label, on
Yeah.
X18 Music,
Yeah.
and I think there's a joint venture with Kevin Abstract's new imprint, which
Yeah.
is Juno.
Yeah. There's something going on between those two. I can't speak on like I can't say for certain like what's going on. I just know those two are
Mhm.
like the two are like that. So
And I'm gonna honestly, it's worth giving Quadeca props for abandoning
yeah.
the YouTube scene, and I know he's been dropping music for a while,
Yeah.
so it's good for him to abandon that because he's putting out stuff that he is artistically inspired about and seems to be adding a real contribution in and not just using his name value to be there.
Yeah.
Kevin Abstract wouldn't put him on there if he was just trying to make a bag off of him, and I don't even know if Quadeca's name is still relevant enough to make a bag off of.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear him go into something that he's artistically motivated about
Yeah.
and is worth his time.
Yeah. I 100% agree. I'm in the camp of like I don't think he's relevant enough anymore to where his name draws in the views. I think it may have like 2 or 3 years ago, but now I think he's really just kind of like fully kind of detaching and being like, all right, I'm actually a real artist who wants to make real
Mm-hmm.
music and like add something of value to the
Yeah.
space, you know?
It's good to see, and I
Yeah.
think it's worth giving him props because I think when I hear Quadeca, I think he did something. He did that KSI diss track with Rice Gum or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, like that's really all. Like in his old videos where he would like rap like 6ix9ine and shit.
Yeah.
So that's like what I think of as him, and I think he might struggle with people who don't get really into his music,
Yeah.
with people thinking about him as anything else. But
Yeah.
it's good to see him make a move, and it's great. It's great to see, and he's making stuff that he wants to make.
Yeah.
And I think what I saw to the album was a valuable contribution.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's just that was kind of an interesting like side project for me. That was kind of
Yeah,
fun to go down memory lane.
yeah. Is any other thoughts about the Kevin Abstract album Blush as we head out of it?
Uh, yeah, I mean, like closing statements, it's like again, like it was an album like I really enjoyed. I mean, again, I keep my expectations fairly level for a lot of things, so I wasn't expecting the world, but I would say I was pleasantly surprised, not in like a it blew me away kind of way, but more of like a this is kind of cool.
Absolutely. And I, like I said, I saw it as a 6.5, six album. You saw it as around the seven range. So excited, excited. We'll probably cover future projects
Yeah,
um, of Kevin Abstract, and it's worth a listen. So go check it out.
yeah,
Another big release, and we actually covered the single blocks in our first episode, maybe our second episode.
yeah.
We covered the Pierre Bourne release of Blocks, which was the single for this album, Made in Paris.
Hmm.
And I really, really liked this album.
Hmm.
I think Pierre Bourne has so much talent, and the production has never been the question with
Yeah,
him because we would consider him one of the best producers of all time
a hundred
because we
percent.
are biased to the 2010s. But but I really, really like this project. It has a real vision. He's trying to accomplish something. He's going outside of his normal bubble,
Hmm.
and it's concise enough to where I don't get bored. I love The Life of Pierre 4, and that's
Yeah,
probably my favorite Pierre Bourne album,
Yeah.
but I like this album. It was solid, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I mean, I come into this expecting like what you expect from a Pierre Bourne album, just the most insane, god tier, insane beats of all time, combined with like subpar to marginal rapping. But like, I don't know. This one, I feel like he's like actually kind of improved a little bit in a way, which is kind of crazy. Like he's kind of, I mean, not like a ton, but like there's definitely like you can see he's trying a little bit more. And again, like you said, the production's never the question. And like I think the thing about a lot of Pierre Bourne albums is like it definitely is like the hard carry for sure. And like I can't like even if like, and here's the thing too, even if like the rapping is bad, it's like you're just like loving the beat the whole time. It doesn't really matter. You're
Yeah.
like let's like Life of Pierre 4, for example, you'll hear some crazy shit and then you'll just hear it's the number one rated mixtape of all time. You're going crazy. This is like it's like come on. I think it's really hard to like dislike a Pierre Bourne album, in my opinion.
And I think the biggest point, what I also saw, same as you, is the improvement in rapping.
Yeah.
It made this project so much better.
Yeah.
Like, it made it so much better than the average Pierre Bourne project because it's not just carried by production. The Life of Pierre 4 is like, that was like a god level. Like, every beat on that, because these beat packs include songs from like Die Lit
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
like OG Cardi stuff, like 2018
Yeah.
Cardi stuff, 2018 Atlanta stuff,
Yeah.
Nudie Thug, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like he was just pulling these things off beat packs that he wouldn't give to top tier artists.
Yeah.
So you could just put that on an album and you'd be like, holy hell, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But this one seemed like he went into the production with an intention, with
Yeah.
a vision, and then the rapping has improved to a point where I actually want to listen to the music as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah. I was gonna bring this up too. I was gonna make a point. I have it written down here, but that like I was gonna say like the production is weaker, but which is like stupid because it's Pierre Bourne, so it's like negligible, like it's still god
Right.
level. But like to your point, it's like Life of Pierre 4. He was just like making the most insane shit of all time, like literally the greatest beats you've ever heard. But like, and now, but like you said, it's more structured. Like the beats are still fantastic. It's just there's a little more like I don't know, a little more nuance.
You're right, and I think it's crazy to say, but Pierre Bourne is one of the few artists where his beats being too good could hurt him.
Yeah.
like like the beats were so insane on some of those projects that you're like the rapping here doesn't meet the quality. So the
Sure.
production, it didn't get like it was a negligible amount, just like you said,
Yeah.
it came down a little bit. But the rapping also came up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it came closer to where they didn't meet,
Yeah.
but they came closer to meeting where I like this project more because that gap
Yeah.
isn't as far as it usually is.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think the rapping will ever get to the level of the beats, to be fair. Like I just don't think
No,
that's
it can't.
it can't, but I'm just saying like I really felt like I was listening to like again, like you said, like a lot, like a really like thought out project like made with intention,
Mhm.
rather than just like again spamming beats and praying.
And I think too, there's way more intention with his music overall,
Mhm.
and even in how he kind of limits his production to specific artists now. Because when he was the hot producer, and I think you saw like not on the same level, but you saw the same thing with Tay Keith when
Yeah.
he was in his prime, like I want to say like 2019 to 2022.
Yeah.
His beats would go to everyone, and it
Mhm.
would be a top 10 single, and it would go crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's like now he's starting to fade off. But with Pierre Bourne kind of limiting his production, like mainly focused on Young Nudie more than anything,
Yeah.
and dropping 2 joint mixtapes with him. I know it's been a long time since the first Slime Ear album,
Yeah.
but him limiting his production and his scope
Yeah.
to one artist and seeing their artistic vision has clearly helped this album. And while we're talking about Nudie, that verse on JBH is insane.
It is
It
like
is a fire verse.
it's like one of my highs of the album for sure. Like it's incredible. I just think those two feed. I mean, we saw it on two Slimeer albums, but those two just feed so well off each other that it's just like insane. I think Pierre like you can tell Pierre likes making beats for him more than anybody else. It feels like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of something we got to keep an eye out on because as I think this can be a discussion in the next episode. I don't want to get too deep into it,
sure.
but I think the young thug return from jail isn't hitting as people wanted to.
Hmm.
And that creates a lane
Mm-hmm.
where 21's dropping every couple years. We haven't seen a 21 Savage single that's like hit hard or even
Yeah.
been dropped recently that's done numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an open spot in the
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta music
Mm-hmm.
because the only thing that's hot right now is Gunna. Lil Baby's not hot anymore.
Yeah.
So there's a wide open lane, and if Nudie decides to go a little bit more commercial with his next album, he could be the top rapper in Atlanta.
Yeah. Especially with Pierre Bourne as a cosign, Like if
Mm-hmm.
Pierre Bourne just fully goes like, I'm not giving beats to fucking anybody else except this guy. Yeah, that would be huge.
Yep.
That would be so insane. I'm not saying like a Slimier 3, but if he does like a solo album, gets Pierre Bourne's help sprinkled here and there. Like
Mm-hmm.
think like early Cardi, for example, like Dial It
Right.
and like, shit like that. Like I think that would really be like massive. Because I think the scarcity of like I think Pierre Bourne's like selectiveness of who he like chooses to make beats for, like is his greatest asset, because people are
Mm-hmm.
still they hear the producer tag and they're gonna go crazy every time still. Like it's not like
I
sorry, go.
I I think it's also him wanting to be respected as an artist, and it works,
Yeah,
and it ends up working in his favor
yeah, yeah,
because he wants to be respected as an artist, and he doesn't want to give beats to people because he wants to rap on them and save them for himself,
yeah,
and he doesn't feel the same way with Nudie, and he'll give Nudie whatever beat he wants.
yeah,
So I'm excited about the direction from Pierre Bourne. Would I be opposed to him maybe taking a year or two and giving some beats to Cardi and giving some beats to Thug and throwing some beats around to,
hmm,
some artists outside of Nudie? That'd be great. But if I
sure,
want to see the next peak Pierre Bourne album, I'm probably hoping that he keeps a lot of this stuff for himself and he takes verses from some bigger rappers and holds them as his own songs.
yeah,
Um, so I think outside of the lyrics on this album, there's really nothing to complain about. I mean, the lyrics are not something like cringeworthy or to complain about,
hmm,
but it's also like an Atlanta trap album. You're not going to be like sitting here breaking down, oh, this is about the poverty struggle of
yeah,
the working class of France. Like we're not,
yeah,
what I'm saying, like we're not getting into this on a lyrical
yeah,
level to
yeah,
where you could give it an exceptionally high rating.
yeah,
Um, but highlights from this record, I'd probably have Just Being Honest with Young Nudie, absolute playlist ad. Blue, Pop, and Reiterate are probably the highlights for me.
yeah. I would say I'm right there with you with Pop and Blue for sure. But one song I really, really liked was the first one, Facade,
Hmm.
because I just heard, like, I sat down and listened to this thing, and I heard those lion growls, and it got me fired the fuck up. That was like, instantly that shit hit the playlist. I'm not even lying. Like, I heard that shit, and I was like, we're so back, guys. It was like, we're back. I don't know what it was. Like, I mean, like, I guess, yeah, Pierre Bourne can do anything, and I'll enjoy it. But, like, yeah, I heard that, and I just thought, yeah, we've
I
peaked.
think I'm gonna be aggressive on this one and give it a. It's in that 7.5 to 8 range. I'd probably have it at about a 7.7.
Sure.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm feeling like the exact same way about this thing. Like, yeah, it's solid. Like you said, we're not going to be analyzing the lyrics and going into a deep dive, but it's definitely an improvement from what we've seen. And again, like you said many times, like this is a project with real structure to it. Like, I mean, I'm interested to see like where Pierre Bourne goes from here. If he goes the route of just hogging his beats and trying to like be like a real like solo artist and continue to improve, or he forces Young Nudie to become the next Young Thug and rule Atlanta for
Exactly.
100 years. Like, we'll see. I
Yep. So I think that wraps up our discussion on the albums and new singles and new albums from this week. And I'm excited for next week. I don't know exactly what we got on the docket, but I know we have one thing on the docket that we're definitely going to talk about. I think I'm on vacation next week, so we might have an odd recording date or a bonus
Hmm.
episode or something like that.
Yeah.
But last week, we had our top 10 features of 2016 draft. After this video, make sure you go and check it out. Either the individual video or the full podcast episode so you can get our reaction to all the new singles and releases of last week. But with your last pick in last week's draft, not to spoil anything, you took Ultralight Beam by Chance the Rapper.
I did. No regrets.
And one thing you said is when you were listening to that song, it reminds you of what could be and what could have been with Chance the Rapper.
Hmm.
Obviously, Notorious, The Big Day.
Hmm.
After two amazing projects, he releases The Big Day, and it may be one of the most disappointing albums to ever reach the airwaves.
Probably top 5 worst day of my life
Oh my!
when the big day dropped.
I didn't end up listening to it immediately, and my friend goes, "You hear that new song, Hot Shower, on the Big Day?" And I was just, I was like, "Oh no!
Oh,
Why is
man.
the song he's talking about Hot Shower?"
No.
Then he played it, and I'm like, "The song is god awful."
No. I was so young back then. I was so full of hope. And like it was so innocent. I didn't realize Chance the Rapper could drop shitty music, but there I was, just listening to the whole thing. I felt like I was in a torture chamber. But
Exactly. It was a dark day for all of us. It was it was the day the Fire Nation took over. Like it was a dark day. It was a dark
Yeah.
day for the United States of
it
America.
was bad. It was really bad.
But there's hope. There's hope, and it's in the air. In addition to the other new music next week, we will be talking about the new single that Chance the Rapper announced, Tree, featuring Smino and Lil Wayne. If you go on his Instagram, there's a snippet of him singing the hook to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. I really like it. Like I
Yeah.
really like the direction he's going. It
Mhm.
seems like strong political raps and hooks from Chance the Rapper, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. I think Chance the Rapper's been on a bit of a PR grind since the big day came out. You know, he kind of laid quiet for a little bit, and then he had like the re-release of what was it, 10-day, in like 20, whenever that happened. But like he's been just kind of been in the shadows. I feel like nothing too crazy or super notable, but maybe there is hope. Maybe there is hope.
And that single will be followed up by an album in the upcoming weeks following that. So there is hope. I'm not saying it's gonna be a huge thing, but he's got one final chance to blow our socks off and redeem himself. And if he does, we might be the happiest people on planet Earth. I think you muted yourself real quick. There.
Hello?
You're back.
Okay, we're good. Anyways,
What were you saying?
yeah, I was saying I think when that day comes, I'm gonna bring a party popper in the recording, and I'm gonna fire it off, and then
Dude, if the album's fire, then we gotta do that.
with a good
But-
chance the rapper up. Sorry, go ahead.
In anticipation of this possible album and this album being good, this week we are doing a top 10 Chance the Rapper songs of all time draft.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many crazy rules here. Features are not allowed. I think it's important as we look to that next album to kind of look at the songs that Chance made himself
Mm-hmm.
that were great. So, top 10 Chance songs only. Chance songs, no features and no leaks. So, we know the deal here. Are we going heads or tails?
Let's go tails, my friend.
All right, here we go.
You know me. You know me.
And it's tails. So,
How does he do it?
You're 2 for 1.
I am 2 for 1. We only
You're
had
2 for
it's a winning record. It's a winning record.
Okay.
I'm gonna receive. I'm gonna receive the
Oh,
football.
okay. I would have kicked anyways. So
Okay. Yeah, this is a interesting one. I think so. Going into this draft, I had like an interesting strategy where I think I'm gonna go for what my favorite songs are from Chance the Rapper. Objectively, objectively, probably wrong, you know, but whatever, you know. I think my number one song, my favorite song from Chance the Rapper. I think I'm gonna go, yeah, favorite song with Chance the Rapper and Childish Gambino from Acid Rap. That's gonna be my number one pick.
I have a very special place in my heart for that song.
I know
Like
you
like
do.
that
I know you do.
that song that song like reminds me of like when I was a child.
I know.
Like that is like I was in middle school. It's a great song. Full transparency. I had the song at 8 on my list.
Wow. Holy shit. My plan was to take it off your board because I knew it would crush you early on. And you'd be emotionally invested.
I think it is like I know that song every word front to back, both verses. And it might be one of my favorites, but I think I didn't go a little more objective, but I wasn't like I don't know. I love that song.
Yeah.
I just had it lower for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, honestly, it wasn't even like a straight up like strategy pick either. It was just like I also that song also very much has a special place in my heart.
It's
it,
it's solid.
it I I'm not gonna do the stupid shit anymore. Like it's not my favorite song, but you know it's good. But I
Boo,
did it twice. I did it twice. I
boo.
did it twice. But whatever. All right, yeah, you got back to back picks. Where you going?
This draft is weird. I don't.
Yeah.
It's we gotta pick our. I think we gotta pick our favorites.
It's a minefield
Um,
draft.
it's also just like the two album like both of those like I think Coloring Book and Acid Rap are both so good, and there's not much like I think so many of the songs are of equal quality and they're equally great.
Yeah.
Um, First song I'm going with Juice.
A good pick.
Um,
It's a really good pick.
Off of Acid Rap, I think it's a song that everybody can sing. It's got a catchy chorus. It's got great rap verses in it. That video of him walking through Chicago
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
iconic it was that he couldn't put it on streaming services.
Yep.
So when you played Acid Rap on Apple Music or Spotify, he'd be like, "Every time you stream this song, we're donating money to charity." It's iconic.
Yeah.
I wanted to be more on quality, but this song is iconic, and I love it. I love this
Mhm.
song.
Yeah. That's a really good pick. That was definitely like yeah, that might have been my next pick or two. I mean, you never really know. I can't leak too much, but that was a very good pick. I see where you're going with this, but yeah, this is tough. Again, this draft is a minefield, man. Like one pick and it's over.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm nervous, and I think this. I mean, this is a bold strategy that I'm going with next.
Hmm.
I'm going back to back acid rap picks,
Sure.
and I'm taking Cocoa Butter Kisses.
It's a really good
Um,
pick.
Off of acid rap. I just think they're the like that song too is like summertime,
Yeah.
like, and it just showed the original versatility of Chance. And I know I'm taking two songs that are very similar, but to be truly honest, all the songs on acid rap are very similar in a great way.
Yeah.
They're very similar and they create this cohesive project, but they are very similar. And I'm taking two acid rap songs
Yeah.
off of that.
I'm okay. These are really good picks. I'm also gonna pick two songs that are very similar, but I think for different reasons. I think with my next pick, this is a personal favorite of mine. So again, my list is not objectively correct. I'm never gonna say it is, but this is just again, this is another B list, so I'm potentially taking another L. But I'm gonna go with Acid Rain from Acid Rap. I just think it's so much different from the rest of that, like Acid Rap. You know, Acid Rap is like, at least for me, it's an album where the whole time is just high energy and like, yeah, I'm having fun the whole time. And then Acid Rain comes on, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is. Every time I listen to that song, I get chills. Like it's just so. I think it's just that good. Like it's one of my personal favorites.
it's a testament to how great acid rap is, and I think everybody at the time was looking forward to what Chance did in the future, but they didn't really take the time to appreciate what he was doing then.
Yeah,
And Acid Rain is a great display of lyricism and mood shifting,
of
just like you
course.
talked about.
Mhm.
I had it on my honorable mentions just because I don't love it. Like I love the. I think I'm probably just not as nostalgic for it
Yeah,
compared to the rest of my list. But it's. I think most people might have it as one for
yeah,
like objectively Chance songs,
yeah.
but I had it in my honorable
That
mentions.
was like honestly like that might be like legitimate like top three, maybe top two. Like I just think that quality
Mhm.
is unparalleled. But I'm gonna go a different like same vein, different album. I'm gonna go with Same Drugs from Coloring Book. This is just like this is a song that I heard it. I remember that video where he was on the piano with like the puppet and stuff when I was in like
The
eighth
pink
grade.
and blue
Yes,
background,
yes,
yeah,
dude. It's
yeah.
like it's so iconic. And it's not just that. I just think again, you just get like the depth of like what Chance the Rapper is capable of doing. Like, you know, he's known for these like high energy, like crazy songs, but you know, he really like takes a second to have this like introspective, like almost like moody like track that makes you like I don't know. That's another one of those ones that I just get chills every time I listen to it. I'm just like, oh my god.
It felt like for the first time he was digging into something that I think, and I'll have another pick that I'll probably say something similar about it.
Sure.
But he's finally digging into what really he wasn't being distracted by drugs, shenanigans,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like even though the song is called Same Drugs, it's the first time you felt him really, really get vulnerable in a way of him knowing and being conscious of what his influence was.
Yeah.
And kind of the story with kind of relating friendships and relationships to drugs.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great track. It's one of my favorite tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I had it at 7
It's fair.
because I think stylistically it's very similar to a lot of the cuts on
Mm-hmm.
Coloring Book. Like I mean half of it,
Mm-hmm.
but great song overall.
Could you remind me what your picks were just so I don't get confused later on? Just
So
so I
I
can write it
had
down.
one I went Juice and two I went Cocoa Butter Kisses.
Damn, that actually pissed me off again.
This one right here is obviously a personal favorite, but it's also a quality pick.
Sure.
Smoke Break featuring Future, one of the best
Fucking
Future
hate you.
verses. One of the best, like I'll say this. This is a top 10 Future verse. And it's not a place you would usually find a Future top 10 verse, and it gets him out of his comfort zone. There's two fire verses by Chance, and you're just waiting for Future to hop on the mic. And
Yeah.
even in the demo versions where he was just rapping over that track for almost 3 minutes,
Yeah.
it's an amazing Future verse, and it's the epitome of what Coloring Book is.
Yeah, that's a great pick. That was probably gonna be my next pick, to be completely honest with you. So there's a
Hmm.
great one. Again, like for the same exact reason. That's probably a top 10 Future verse like ever. Like, and it's just like, and again, it's just such a good song. I'm getting like sad again, man. Like, what happened?
Yeah, yeah, no, I think it's kind of the nostalgia of it, and where when life wasn't too serious, you
Yeah.
know, when life wasn't too serious back in the day, and then also the
Yeah.
fact that Chance can't make me feel like this
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah. Maybe.
and maybe,
Maybe.
and even that's even the like the music he's made ever since dropping Coloring Book is just not is
Yeah.
like even the stuff that's hidden behind dark themes
Yeah.
are like even behind like beautiful themes and high energy. A lot of that stuff is dark in nature,
Yeah.
and I just don't know if he can ever. I don't know if he can go back to that place. I don't know if he has that in him.
Yeah.
But with my fourth pick, I'm going Angels featuring Saba, and I think the big reason I went with this one is to add versatility. It is the best chant song that is high energy. There's, I mean, outside of maybe Juice, because
Yeah.
the energy on this is crazy, and it just makes you want to like jump out the gym, like shoot
Yeah.
some hoops, do like it, and it just and Saba's chorus on his and its hook on is crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. You just picked my next two picks just now. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even shitting you. I love Saba so much. I think Care for Me is probably like one of my favorite albums of all time. And that song, yeah, like you said, it's just like I don't know what more I can add to it. Like It's a really good pick. It's a great
Mhm.
pick. Again, that was my
I'm
next pick.
excited.
But anyways, all right. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Where am I gonna go? Okay, this feels like low-hanging fruit. Oh, oh, sorry. Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
know where you're going.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna go Juke Jam.
Oh, I did not expect you to go
Yeah, I know where you expect me to go, but I don't want to go there.
there. Okay, so I don't think either of us are gonna go
I
there
think
then.
I think both of us don't want to go there. I think we're both scared.
I don't think I okay, go ahead and explain. I don't wanna
I mean,
trample you on
again,
this
this is
segment.
just like a personal pick for me. Again, it's more of like a toned down version of Chance the Rapper that more so showcases his versatility and what he can do, rather than like a majority of what we've seen from him. And, this is just like, I don't know what more to add rather than just I really, really enjoy this project. I think it's still on my playlist to this day, like all these years later. But yeah, that's going to be my pick there. Anything to add on that one?
I think I like it.
Hmm.
I like it, but I think the Justin Bieber verse is okay. I love the production on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like and I still listen to this song too.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about these upper tier chance songs, there's real quality distinctions we have to make. I feel like the Justin Bieber feature is not strong as it needs to be.
Sure.
But I like the vulnerability in it, and
Yeah.
Chance is going to that place.
Hmm.
But I think there's better picks if you're looking at that from Chance.
That's a good take. I mean, again, this is just more of like a personal pick for me, like something
Hmm.
I really enjoy. And like you said, I think the production's absolutely insane. But like, yeah, you know, if you ask me, like what I think, what like my top 10 chance of all time are, I'm probably putting this one in there because again, the fact that I'm still listening to it is, you know,
Hmm.
insane. All right, where should I go next? Okay, I'll do this.
I have one. I have one on my list, and I just really don't want you to take it.
Okay. I think this is another one I still listen to like a shocking amount. Uh I'm gonna go with Blessings. Let's go with Blessings on Coloring Book.
Okay.
That's again just another like personal pick of mine. I love the saxophone and like I just think again, it's so hard for me to like articulate what I like about certain chant songs other than they just sound
Mhm.
good, you know? And every time I listen to them I feel good. And I think that's kind of the point of like Chance the Rapper's music is like I kind of feel like when I'm on the like listening to this song, I'm kind of like floating through clouds, not a care in the world. You know, I love it. That was corny. That's
Absolutely.
corny.
And are you gonna make? Is there a distinction whether you like the Jameel Woods or the Ty Dolla Sign version better? Because that he put that song on the album twice.
Yeah. Jamila Woods for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Blessings is a great song, and in the best part about Chance the Rapper, especially on Coloring Book, is the versatility.
Hmm.
And even when he went commercial, it didn't feel commercial because you know who he was.
Yeah.
And Blessings is great. Is him leaning into the gospel side we saw in Ultralight Beam,
Hmm.
and we saw in what he was doing in the production at the time. I think Blessings is a great track. I didn't have it on my list,
Yeah.
but I like the song. It's a good track.
I can see we have very different minds, you and I. We have very
I
different
think
minds, you and I.
I think when it comes to Chance the Rapper, we do, and I
Yeah.
think I went for quality on this too. Do you have any guesses on what I'm taking at five?
Oh God. I don't even want to like I don't want to say it, but I think I know where you're gonna go. And
Oh no, I'm not going to the easy pick. I'm not going to the
oh,
easy pick.
okay.
I promise.
Okay. There's a pick I have that's very interesting, but I don't think you'll go there. But no, I don't have a guess.
Okay.
Let me see.
So with my last pick, I'm picking "Summer Friends" off of Coloring Book, and this song, in my opinion, outside of Acid Rain, is probably the highest quality Chance song that exists
Mm.
because you get every element of Chance. You get the vulnerability, you get the Jeremiah vocals, you get the back half how it transitions into a different song. It is so vulnerable and it's so light, and because his words hit so hard, you don't need this production beaten over your head and just shoved down your throat of a hard beat or insane energy, because the words he's talking about are so strong, and I think it's something everybody can relate to, and that's one of the peak points of Chance's music is the relatability within his subjects. And I think the idea of having friends and having, those summers where you look back on them and you say, hey, I wish I could be there, or I lost this person in my life, or just really common themes of that he's putting his own vulnerability and his own experience with that into
Hmm.
one song and mixing so many genres into one song,
Hmm.
and an amazing guest feature by Jeremiah. This might be this might be the best Chance song of all time in
Hmm.
terms of objective quality.
Yeah.
And I would have picked it. I just knew you probably weren't going to pick it, so I had it last.
Yeah.
But Summer Friends would be my pick.
That went off my radar somehow. That was a really good pick.
Mhm.
I think it's kind of interesting too that we kind of all kind of had different answers, you know?
Mhm.
And like I don't feel like either of us are wrong. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there's a but like you know what I mean though. It's like we have our picks and then you sit there and you're like, okay, well that's a good pick. That's fine. And then you
it
go one way. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good one. You know?
it speaks to the depth of those two projects.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't pick
totally.
we didn't pick anything outside of Acid Rapper Coloring Book,
Yeah.
and Lord knows he has stuff outside of that that's it's listenable. And I
I
mean, 10 Day has some good stuff for sure.
I did have
But
Windows on 10 Day on there. I didn't want to.
okay,
Yeah, I knew that. I just knew that wouldn't be on your list, and it's just like
yeah.
I didn't know if anybody would care about that deep cut, but I love
I
that
don't
song.
think there's I don't think there's any way to go wrong with this draft, and I
Yeah,
think when we do the artist ones, we should probably start just doing a list, just do
yeah,
like top 10 and
yeah,
discuss whatever.
yeah.
But I think I think the only one that would have overlapped with you is I would have taken favorite song towards the end of this draft,
Yeah.
but I don't think I had anything else that
I mean,
you wanted on your list.
you, yeah, you took a lot of songs I wanted. I'm gonna be honest with you. You took like I had Juice on there, like uh, Smoke Break was there, Angels were there, Cocoa Butter Kiss was in my like just on the edge kind of deal,
Mhm.
but I mean like again, like I said, like it's very hard to sit here and be like either of us like stunk it up or like
Yeah.
blew us out of the water, and like that just makes me even sadder.
It
It
does.
is the most depressing draft segment of all time. What happened?
Yeah. So I want to get into some of the songs we could have picked
Yeah.
um, that didn't make it. I had these two both in my top 10, but due to kind of what you picked, I had the majority of my top 10 available.
Mhm.
Smoke Again featuring Absol.
It's a
The
great one.
bass on that hits so hard that that also gives it's very similar to favorite song
Hmm.
in like that summer feel, like you just feel
Yeah.
like you're transported back to summer. It's a party jam, great song. Absol
Yeah.
has an amazing verse on it.
Hmm.
um, Finish Line Drown, which is also up there in objective quality of Chance the Rapper songs. T Pain vocals on it. It kind of brings you through the whole thing, multiple elements
Yeah.
of different songs.
Hmm.
I think Lost off of Acid Rap featuring No
Yeah.
Name,
Yeah.
which No Name, who probably is one of the strongest female MCs in terms of lyricism
Hmm.
and overall bar capability at this. I mean, for the past decade. I mean, even going back to what was that 2013
Yeah.
with Acid Rap. So No Name's got so much power and such high quality
Hmm.
lyricism, bars, flow that also makes its way onto there. And I think a couple quick ones too. All We Got featuring Kanye, great
Hmm.
production, intro track to Coloring Book.
Yep.
And then stuff outside of Acid Rap and Coloring Book. I Might Need Security, which was one of those SoundCloud songs he dropped
Hmm.
in like that 4 pack in between Coloring Book and The Big Day.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
And one of the more recent additions he dropped 2024, Stars Out, which is like it's not Chance the Rapper quality. I would never have put it in my list, but I just wanted to give it a shout as like showing that Chance can still kind of do it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, those are all really good picks. Lost is definitely like one of those ones that got away from me, like where I was kind of just caught in the moment and I didn't really think about it. But
Hmm.
that's definitely like one of my favorite tracks on Acid Rap for sure. I think I listened to that yesterday, like just randomly. But yeah, outside of Coloring Book and Acid Rap, one of the ones I talked about was Windows from 10 Day.
Hmm.
When you listen to 10 Day going back, how old is that album? Like 2010,
That's 11 or
2011,
12.
2011,
Yeah,
12.
2011.
And like
Yeah.
it's like early enough like where it seems kind of like a little rough around the edges, but like he's still kind of like figuring it out. Like it's still good, but like it's definitely like you can tell there's improvement there. When you get to Windows, it's like it feels like he's sorted all of that out in one
Hmm.
song. And it's insane. Like the production is just like on a completely different level compared to like I think the rest of 10 Day, and like the features are great. I mean, like it's just a completely different. It's so weird. Like it's a completely different sound compared to the rest of 10 Day. And what else did I have on here? Yeah, I mean, like I said, Lost, and I had How Great too. That's more of like the gospel
Hmm.
side too. Like I don't know why I'm just a sucker for like the gospel Chance the Rapper stuff. And I think that's the
Yeah.
peak of it. And then that verse at the end from Chance is just like it's so insane. It's honestly like so good.
I think it's important to contextualize as well with the Chance gospel stuff. Being a Chicago artist, Acid Rap's a 2013 release, Coloring Book's a 2016 release. These projects are in the middle of the first original Chicago drill scene when that was as hot
Yeah.
as anything. Like that's, I mean, 2013. That's Chief Keef's prime wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like finally rich Chief Keef. And when you saw the gospel progression with Chance, it almost gave that Chicago area like a hero. And I'm not from there,
Yeah.
but when you have like rap as a genre is very controversial and people get very heated and they debate and it's politicized and there's always big stakes and there's always things that are not the most morally correct thing, but when you would see Chance do those gospel efforts and those gospel
Yeah.
songs, you had hope in from something in that area being something that could add to the world, and even Kanye being crazy and him being around Kanye and him leading him in a different direction before Kanye absolutely violated him,
Yeah.
but but him leading
Dessert.
some of the kind of the rough around the edges parts of rap music and kind of giving it a I hate to say it, but a commercial face and a hopeful face
Yeah.
made Chance's music hit even harder.
Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. And finally, some songs that were just like honorable mentions that I think are really good are Good Ass Intro and Good Ass Outro.
Dude,
You know what I
dude,
mean? It's like it feels like Good Ass Intro is like, all right, we got this is like really solid start, and then Acid Rap happens, and then Good Ass Outro is the final bow to end it all. And I think they're perfect in their own. I think they're perfect, and it's like perfect intro and a perfect outro. And you can't ask for much better quality. I think.
I think good ass intro is one of the most resourceful and in terms of a song that accomplishes its goal in an introducing track and bringing you into the energy of an album. Good ass intro might be one of the greatest of all times because the piano chords and the
Yeah.
speed of it and chance just hitting you immediately
Yes.
with energy,
Yeah.
upbeat tone, and then continuing it through 8, 9 songs, and then taking you down and then taking you back up. It's good ass intro is up there, and it's a testament to Chance's discography
Yeah.
per
Absolutely.
usual.
Yeah. Those were like barely in my there was like barely almost made it. Like if I had a few more picks, like maybe it would have snuck in. But yeah, that was kind of the rest of my list. It's crazy how many we put. It's crazy how many we had. It's
Yeah,
kind of wild.
I mean 5 and 5, and then we had about maybe an additional 10 to 12 honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Looking at it. And I think too, just to wrap up, in terms of songs you had favorite song featuring Childish Gambino, Acid Rain, Same Drugs, Juke Jam featuring Justin Bieber, and Blessings. I had Juice, Cocoa Butter Kisses, Smoke Break featuring Future, Angels featuring Saba, and Summer Friends featuring Jeremiah.
Damn.
If I'm being honest, I think I won. This is a very subjective draft,
Yeah. I
but
personally,
I think I would take the. I think I
I
got the
I think I
W.
think I give it to you personally. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like I get it. Like, bro, you pick the songs. You know, but like, yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, I got fucking clobbered either. You know, like
Yeah, no, and I
I'm
think
sitting here like I think this is a common theme like through all these drafts is like I sit there and listen to like the songs I picked and I'm like, I crushed it. I killed. And then it gets to your picks and I'm like, yeah, probably better pick. Probably better picks there. Probably better picks there.
But I think we're both honest enough
Yeah.
to where like we'll be like, I
Yeah.
don't think I won this one, or like if we did win it, you're like, yeah, I think I absolutely murdered that R&B albums of the 2010s. I think I murked you by a long shot,
Hey man.
and I was like, I got this. And then last week with the features of 2016 draft, I picked the Raw pick, which is like still like a top 5 Uzi verse, but I regretted it, and I
Yeah.
really should have went congratulations with Quavo. And
Yeah.
I think after that it was raps.
Yeah.
I think it was raps.
Yeah, that one I just came in with a strategy. I'm like, all right, well, just
Yeah,
pick home runs, you know.
it
I'm not
was well. It
I'm
was
not
well
bunting, bro. I'm
executed.
not bunting.
And the thing too, also, like I think you would beat me. Like is the difference obviously in terms of rapping? No More Parties in LA is so much better than Ultralight Beam, but like in terms of iconic songs and overall like songs, is
Yeah.
how much better is No More Parties in LA than
Yeah.
Ultralight Beam? You
Feature
know,
wise, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know,
it's iconic in a different way.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I think we're fair to say it's 2-1. And this one's subjective. I don't know. I might start putting up polls because we got about 10 people watching now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Join the
we're averaging.
click the polls. Participate in the polls.
Yeah, dude. Let me see if I don't even know if we've like unlocked the feature.
I don't even no, I don't
But
think we have. Actually.
but we got quality stuff. We're
Yeah.
uploading. We made it to the 4th episode. Next week, or I don't know if it's gonna be next week. I'm gone, but
Yeah.
um we'll be here every week. We're gonna be doing this whether people are listening or not.
Every week.
Um, every week. The grind never stops. The grind never
We'll
stops.
scream to the peanut gallery until somebody
Yeah,
listens.
yeah. I bet like my neighbor or something's got their ear to the wall, just being like, "Oh no, I totally would have taken all we got."
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Where's the 10-day love, man?
yeah.
There's
Where's
some
the 10-day
heater.
picks? Yeah, the big day. Where's hot
Oh
shower?
man, hot shower. Hot shower. I almost did that as bait, so that would be funny. You're not
Dude,
listening to him. He loves his wife.
you should have like you took the first song. You should have been like, and I'm going hot shower. I would have lost my mind.
Oh man.
Yeah, but as we head past an hour here, we'll wrap things up. Like I said, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to check out the past drafts. We have the top features of 2016 from last week, and we have top 10 R&B albums of the 2010s from 2 weeks ago. We're on our 4th episode here, so if you want to go back and listen to those, we'd greatly appreciate it. But while you're here, hit the subscribe button, comment any thoughts you have, and I'm very happy you were able to enjoy this podcast with us. But we'll head out, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.